that easy for you? Ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTV and radio.
Pleasant morning from this side, and welcome to Freshlight, where we save you the stress of flipping through newspaper pages, and we also read national dailies to you. Today's will be an exception. My name is Risqat Sulaiman.
As a pleasant morning to everyone of all our listeners out there on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. It is Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. I'm Sowole Moshood. Good morning.
All right, good morning once again. We have couples of newspaper in the studio today. We have the Punch, we have the Vanguard, we have the Nation newspaper, and we have the Saturday Sun newspaper. We'll be starting with from the eastern part of the country, which is Saturday Sun newspaper. On the Saturday Sun newspaper, we have this leading story: Niger war drums, ECOWAS under attack. How Islamic cleric hypnotized me, stole my wife, kids for 12 years. This is not coming from me. This is coming from America returning. Alpha connived with Babalawo to flees with me of 105 million naira luxury cars. Insecurity, coughing business booms in Southeast. You can find this on page 19 of the Saturday Sun newspaper. CBN releases 7-year financial statement owes JP Morgan 3.2 trillion naira. You can find this on page 25 of the Saturday Sun newspaper. Strong opposition against regional bodies order to deploy stand force. Don't plunge region into senseless war. Catholic bishops Oyenekon tells ourselves. Military actions will create more insecurity in Africa. This is coming from Ajike. War on Niger is war on northern Nigeria. Yusuf Cleric Northern Groups says. You can find this on page 21, 22, 24, and 26 of the Saturday Sun newspaper. Police killed 3 gunmen, several escaped with bullet wounds in Enugu. Controversy over optometry sudden death. You can find this on the page 7 and page 8 of the Saturday Sun newspaper. Regionalism best option to salvage Nigerians' future. This is coming from Gani Adams. Oshogbo 3 feared death, several injured. You can also find this on the Saturday Sun newspaper. My priority is swift economic recovery for greater good. This is coming from Tinubu, and you can find this on page 29 of the Saturday Sun newspaper. It also has the pictorials of Tinubu, and we also have the pictorial of Sowole and others. So let's go into the details of this.
Our first story today on the Saturday Sun newspaper, one of the leading story. Niger, don't plug our region into senseless war. CBCN tells ECOWAS leaders. The Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria, CBCN, has told the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, head states and governments not to plug the West African sub-region into a senseless war. This was even as the CBCN said ECOWAS leader will gain absolutely nothing by destroying the lives of fellow Africans through a reckless war. The president of Catholic Bishops Conference of Nigeria, Archbishop Lucius Ugoji, stated this in response to the order given to the ECOWAS defense chiefs by the authority of ECOWAS head of state and government to activate the ECOWAS standby force against the military junta in the Republic of Niger. Ugoji, the Metropolitan Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Owerri, said, "We wish a strong appeal we wish to strongly appeal to the leadership of ECOWAS to exercise maximum self-restraint in their decision to plunge our sub-region into senseless war at a time when our nation is saddened with war, at a time when our nation is saddened with many internal economic and security challenges that seems to condemn our fellow citizens to a life of watching, suffering, and unresolved mystery. We gain absolutely nothing by destroying the lives of fellow Africans through a reckless war. Ninja, don't plug our region into senseless war. CBCN tells ECOWAS leader. You can take on the Saturday Sun newspaper this morning for more details.
Moving to Kaduna State, Zaria Mosque collapse, death rises to 10, over 30 hospitalized. The death toll of worshippers who died following the collapse of Zaria Central Mosque in Kaduna State has risen from 4 to 10, while other 30 other worshippers have been hospitalized for injuries sustained. As a source at Emir Palace said, after the funeral of the earlier victims, 10 worshippers were confirmed dead, while 30 have been taken to hospitals in Zaria. To read details of this story, you can pick the Saturday Sun newspaper. It has this headline: Zaria Mosque collapse, death toll rises to 10, over 30 hospitalized. May their gentle souls rest in perfect peace.
From Saturday Sun, we move on to the Nation newspaper this morning. The headlines are: report, CBN owns JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, $15 billion cash received. 3 IPOB ESN member killed as military vows fresh onslaught. US ECOWAS warned Niger junta over ousted president. EU-AU expressed concern over Bazoum's poor condition in detention. Tragedy as 4 dies in Zaria Central Mosque collapse. Obaseki, my deputy, so desperate for power, he plotted coup against me. I went to jail 4 times in 6 years. It's not me. Resident doctor suspend strike to review progress in 2 weeks. My battle with prostate cancer by Pat Tommy. You can take on the Nation newspaper this morning for the frontline headlines this morning. Into the details this morning.
All right, picking my first story on the Nation newspaper, I will be starting from the eastern parts of the state, the country, which is Edo State. Obaseki, my deputy, so desperate for power, he plotted coup against me. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki yesterday accused his deputy Philip Shaibu of carrying out a coup against him, even as the state's second citizen appeared to have been beaten a retreat in his standoff with the governor. Shaibu, who only last week filed a suit at Federal High Court Abuja to restrain his principal and the State House of Assembly from impeaching him, declared yesterday that he will sink and swim with the governor. Obaseki told elders and leaders from Exako West, East and Central local government area as at a meeting in Shaibu's hometown of Jatu in Exako West local government area that Shaibu has become so desperate for power that he will plot a coup against the government of which he is part. The meeting was part of the campaign ahead of the next month's local government election. He said, and I quote, the deputy has become so desperate to take over, and he's ready to do anything, including carrying out a coup d'etat to ensure that he kicks me out and become the governor of Edo State. To read more of this story, you can pick the Nation newspaper this morning. It has this headline: Obaseki, my deputy, so desperate for power, he plotted coup against me.
Our last story on the Nation newspaper before we go on a short commercial break. Our resident doctors suspend strike. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has suspended its indefinite nationwide strike, which began on July 26, 2023. As a result, the association has directed its members across the country to resume work from Saturday, August 12, by 8 a.m. this morning. The National Executive Council (NEC) of the association will review the progress made in terms of the implementation of their demand in 2 weeks' time. The demand of NAD include review of the consolidated medical salary structure, commence, payment of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund (MRTF), issuance of a circular by the Federal Ministry of Health for replacement of doctors and nurses that have left the system with new ones, and the payment of salary arrears, improvement in hazard allowance by the state government, among others. Recall that the resident doctors had planned to embark on a picketing of the Federal Ministry of Health, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, as well as all federal and state tertiary health institutions nationwide. Resident doctors suspend strike. You can take on the Nation newspaper this morning. On that note, we'll go on a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll give you on this update on the Punch and the Vanguard newspaper. Do stay with us.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Taustaf Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Taustaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Taustaf Central Mosque, Sholage.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó pàgbàmù ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zayana. House of Zayana, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zayana, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kájọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀, ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógè gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zayana lẹ́ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zayana wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road, adjacent Redeemed Church, Agape Parish, Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram, House of Zayana 08165688618. House of Zayana, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. Still on Freshlight this morning. And moving forward, we are moving to Vanguard newspaper. On the Vanguard newspaper cover page, we have genesis of problem between me and my deputy. This is not coming from me. This is coming from Governor Obaseki. He opens up. You can find this on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. Compel hospital authorities to produce my son's intestine. Mother begs Sowole. You can find this on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. On the leading story, we have Niger coup. Nigerians reject ECOWAS war plan back NAS. I'll tell President Tinubu to tackle the petrol crisis and other woes. Says ECOWAS lack authority to invade a sovereign nation. We going to war being in our national interest, lawyer, activists, others speak. Page 25 of the Vanguard captured the story. El-Rufai withdraws interest in ministerial appointments, jet out of the country. You can find this on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, IMT chief lecturers back Vanguard condemn corruption in school. Carpet the PRO reactions to reports. You can find this on the page 5 or page 15 of the Vanguard newspaper. So these are many more stories you can find on the Vanguard newspaper.
Our leading story today on the Vanguard newspaper this morning: the Niger coup. Nigerians reject ECOWAS war plan, back NAS. Nigeria yesterday rebuffed the plan of the head of state of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to deploy soldiers in Niger Republic to host the military junta. A coterie of military officers led by General Abdurrahman Tichiani on July 26 toppled the elected president of Niger, Mohamed Bazoum, and held him and his family member hostage at the presidential palace in Niamey. Since then, ECOWAS, at an extraordinary meeting of the head of state Thursday in Abuja, ordered its standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger Republic. The resolution read in part, direct the committee of the chief of defense staff to activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements immediately. Order the deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. Underscore its continued commitment to the restoration of constitutional order through peaceful means. Former Provost Marshal of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Don Ibada Iponwe, told Saturday Vanguard, Nigeria is a sovereign nation. It is evidently clear that the recent military takeover in the country has support of the Nigerian people. What has happened, there is welcome resolution. Nigeria rejects ECOWAS war plan, back NAS. You can take on the Vanguard newspaper this morning for more details.
Still on the Vanguard newspaper, El-Rufai withdraws interest in ministerial appointment, jets out of the country. The former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, has opted out of President Bola Tinubu's cabinet as a minister. In an exclusive report by an outline newspaper, Premier Times, El-Rufai was said to have told President Tinubu at a meeting on Tuesday that he was no longer interested in becoming a minister, but he will continue to contribute to his quota to the development of the Nigeria as a private citizen. Quoting presidency source, he also reported that told the president that he needed time to focus to his doctorate program at a university in Netherlands. Additional sources confirmed that El-Rufai, who had already left the country, was very angry that if Tinubu had really wanted him in his cabinet, he would have made it possible for him to get the nod of the Senate. Another insider also said El-Rufai suggested a new ministerial nominee, which is Jafaru Ibrahim Sani for Kaduna State, saying the president will find it very useful and resourceful. To read details of this story, you can pick Vanguard newspaper this morning. It has this headline: El-Rufai withdraws interest in ministerial appointment, jet out of the country.
From Vanguard newspaper, we move to the Punch newspaper this morning, which is our last newspaper out today on Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. How Tinubu El-Rufai ministerial dead crumble. Why DSS voided ex-Cardinal governor initial clearance. Family trade, household where husband, wife, son are organizers. Nigerians in Niger beg FG for evacuation over impending attack. Says host already displacing hostility. Fear Olympic attack. Why I am surrounded by bodyguards. Rivers Varsity SUG president. Northern women face divorce, trauma for receiving treatment from male doctors. Why I stop Shuaibu from entering my house of Bazeki. I shouldn't have been evicted from BBN Princess. For more take on the Punch newspaper for the headline news. Into the details this morning.
All right, into the details of the Punch newspaper. I have this funny, it's quite funny story, but it's also informative. Another woman faced divorce trauma for receiving treatment from male doctors. If it were for the timely intervention of the elderly Islamic cleric at Zikara village in Safe local government area of Zamfara state, Garba Umar would have headed his 15-year-old marriage to his wife Halima. Her offense was allowing a doctor attend to her in the labor room. So Saturday Punch learned that when efforts by other women in the compound failed to help when she went into labor, she was rushed to the Safe General Hospital following noticeable complications that often accompany childbirth. On getting to the hospital, there were no female doctors or nurses on the ground to attend to her. Thus, they were constrained by allowing a male doctor on duty to attend to her at the time which her health seemed to be failing, reluctant to embrace the option. The woman said they had no choice but to allow the doctor, names we heard for security reasons, attended to her. So after 3 days of being in coma, Halima survived but she lost the baby. However, her family and friends were consoled that she made it out alive. But unknowing to the distraught mother, the consequences of allowing a male doctor attend to her awaited her at home. Her husband, it was then, had become livid, hurled insult at her, and even threatened a divorce for allowing a male doctor to attend to her. To read this story, you can go to the Punch newspaper this morning. Another woman faced divorce trauma for receiving treatment from male doctor. Punch newspaper punches it out this morning. So ASMD, I think this is the right time. Maybe when your wife is in labor, you shouldn't allow male doctor to, because I think this is very odd.
It's quite different in southwest here and in the north and the north side. And I think the male doctor just try to help out because the woman life is a danger. I think they should take it easy over there. I think if admin the male doctor doesn't have the chance to rescue her life,
both the mother and the child will eventually die together. I think this as a result of illiterate.
May God bless our country. Still on the Punch on this paper this morning. Kidnapped Chibok girl returns 9 years after. The First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Olurebe Tinubu, on Friday at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, received Rebecca Kabo, one of the 277 Chibok girls who were abducted by Boko Haram in 2014. The First Lady who received Rebecca alongside with the wife of the Vice President, Adiana Nana Shetima, promised to ensure that Rebecca was well taken care of medically and fit to return to school willingly. Mrs. Tinubu, while promising that the remaining girls in captivity are not forgotten, approached the office of the National Security Advisor, National Intelligence Agency, and other security agencies and those who were involved in Rebecca rescue. She said, and I quote, "Cases of amnesia should be treated. It is difficult to get by, but since you are still here, God has planned for you. I thank the office of the NSA for not relenting and everyone that is assisting in her rehabilitation." Kidnapped Chibok girls returns 9 years after. Take on the Punch newspaper this morning for more details.
Okay, picking this health column on the Punch newspaper, early signs of a heart attack. Recognizing the early warning signs of a heart attack can save lives. However, symptoms of heart attack vary. Some people have mild symptoms, others have severe symptoms, and other people have no symptoms. A heart attack occurs when an artery that sends blood and oxygen to the heart is blocked. Fatty, cholesterol-containing deposits build up over time, forming plaques in the heart arteries. If a plaque ruptures, a blood clot can form. The clot can block arteries, causing a heart attack. During a heart attack, a lack of blood flow causes the tissue in the heart muscle to die. A former director and national coordinator, non-communicable diseases for the Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Nnenna Ezeigwe, 4 out of 5 cardiovascular disease deaths had due to heart attacks and stroke. Chest pain. Below are some of the early signs of attack, which number 1, chest pain, shortness of breath. To read details of this story, you can see you can learn a lot of things. So to read details of this, you can go to the Punch newspaper this morning. Early signs of heart attack.
Lastly, today on the Freshlight Punch newspaper, our sports column, Caicedo confusing hanging over Chelsea, Liverpool. Chelsea and Liverpool have gone to battle in the transfer market for the signature of Brighton's Moise Caicedo before the face of Stamford Bridge on the opening weekend of the Premier League season. The Ecuadorian is said to become the most expensive player in English football history, as both clubs sees 21 years old as integral to their hopes of bouncing back after a disappointing season. Liverpool have agreed £110 million deal, $140 million to €127 million with Brighton, but the player is believed to still favor a move to Chelsea. The Blues slumped to 12th in the Premier League last season, their lowest finish since 1994, despite spending over £500,000 million on new players during the first year of the club's new ownership. Caicedo confusion hanging over Chelsea, Liverpool. Take on the Saudi Punch sports news this morning for more details. On this note, we call it a wrap on Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and video. Do join us on Monday as well on Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. I remain Sowole Moshood.
And I am Risqat Sulaiman. Thanks for joining another program, which is Yoruba version of Freshlight still awaiting you, called Ojunto. Stay tuned.